teeing up for a very busy week again in Congress, as House Speaker Mike Johnson is apparently backing off claims he made that President Trump previously served as an FBI informant in the Jeffrey Epstein case. First, I want you to listen to what the Speaker told reporters late last week. Watch.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down.
Okay, now fast forward to yesterday, where a spokesperson for the speaker issued this statement to NBC saying, quote, the speaker's reiterating what the victim's attorney said, which is that Donald Trump, who kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, was the only one more than a decade ago willing to help prosecutors expose Epstein for being a disgusting child predator. Now, I was at that press conference where the lawyer that Johnson is referring to, Brad Edwards, talked about this. And he said that he had had conversations with Trump and that Trump was helping them during some prosecutions in the late 2000s. But he never used the phrase FBI informant. And so that's definitely confusing as the speaker says that. But it also comes as later today, the House Oversight Committee is expected to meet with attorneys for Jeffrey Epstein's estate to gain access to the now infamous Epstein 50th birthday book. That book reportedly includes an explicit letter allegedly written by Donald Trump, though Trump has said the message is fake and that he never wrote it. Today's meeting comes after the committee issued a subpoena last month as part of its investigation into the deceased sex offender. At the same time, the Justice Department asked a federal judge to keep sealed the names of two associates who received large payments from Epstein in 2018. That request came after NBC News filed a motion to unseal those names, citing public interest and transparency. But the DOJ cited privacy concerns expressed by the individuals, both of whom were protected from prosecution under Epstein's Sweetheart 2008 non-prosecution agreement. Joining us now, congressional reporter for Punchbowl News, Max Cohen. This is the story, I think, that continues to dominate at least the House side of Congress as they're coming back. My understanding is that the committee fully expects that they're getting this birthday letter within the larger birthday book. And you listen to the ranking Democrat on the committee, Robert Garcia, last night on our network saying, we're going to get it and we're going to put it out. And it also comes as lawyers for the Oversight Committee in bipartisan fashion are expected, I'm told, to go up to the Epstein estate a little bit later this week as well to continue seeing what more information they have. And so all of this leads to the idea that the Oversight Committee is getting a lot of information. And if you're Republicans who are now wedged between a White House that wants this story to go away and a constituency that says, hey, you promised transparency on this, what happens when they get all the information that they are actually asking for? The political dynamics of this are fascinating.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to set this up, right? And you led off by talking about Speaker Johnson. His entire job is predicated on being as close to President Donald Trump as humanly possible, right? But as you mentioned, there's this wedge issue that animates conservatives in the base unlike anything else, and they feel very upset, perhaps even betrayed by the Trump DOJ, who promised so much and has delivered absolutely the opposite, frankly. So watching Speaker Johnson here over the next couple weeks is going to be very interesting. He's also trying to fend off the discharge petition that Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna are trying to do, which would force the release of all these files. So actually, this Oversight Committee role is somewhat of an off-ramp for Johnson, more politically palatable. He can control the Oversight Committee more than he could that discharge petition.
Potentially, right? Unless you have Robert Garcia saying, we're actually going to put the birthday letter out. I mean, that's not under the speaker's control, really, is it?
Yeah, 100%. You're right. I mean, there is that kind of working with Democrats always leads to the opportunity where someone like Robert Garcia could say, I'm going to go rogue here. But there is more control over the process. But also, once damaging information comes out, if it does come out, Republicans are going to be in a very tight spot because transparency here also opens the door to involving President Trump, as you mentioned with the birthday book and the public reporting on that. Of course, as was mentioned, Trump says totally false. We'll find out very soon, right?
We're going to find out very soon. And the way that I've talked to Democrats about this issue, even though it wasn't one that they ran on, it wasn't really on their radars, they say they've picked up the mantle on it because they feel like it's an opportunity to pierce the veil, is the phrase that one of these lawmakers used with me, for MAGA supporters who listen to everything the president says, they trust him on it. But when you're able to show in tangible form, yeah, this letter he says he didn't write actually has his name on it and it looks a little bit like it, allegedly, right? I mean, we'll see what we see. But that's the opportunity that they see here. And it comes against the backdrop of a Capitol that has been so busy with a million other things, including that RFK Jr. testimony that you and I probably watched for all 3.5 hours of it. Is there fallout still to be had from that? I mean, I think all of us looked at someone like Senator John Barrasso, the number 2 Republican, and thought, This feels a little different because he is in leadership and he is even going at the Health and Human Services Secretary.
Yeah, I was actually just going to bring up that Barrasso comment as a barometer of how far this issue has shifted among sitting Republicans who are normally so loath to criticize an administration official, but RFK Jr. came under very heavy criticism. I think, honestly, the answer is, Allie, he's the HHS secretary. Mm-hmm. He's in a position of power. He's making drastic changes to the way Americans interact with vaccines and the scientific process. In many ways, all the fallout in the world can't undo the fact that he was confirmed by that exact same Senate. And I think you look at members of that panel who grilled him the other week, and a lot of frustrated Americans are thinking, where were you during the vote process, right? I'm looking at someone like Bill Cassidy. He gets a lot of attention given his background as a doctor, his very public support of vaccines, even fighting with members of his own Senate Republican conference, Bill Cassidy, over it. But of course, he still provided the vote to usher RFK Jr. through the process. And I think that's the key point here.
It's the absolutely key point. You can voice your frustrations now, but you had an opportunity to have a real tangible impact, and people decided still to vote him through. Congressional reporter for Punchbowl News, Max Cohen, setting up the week for us. Thank you. We're going to be reading more of your reporting online.